All right, here we go from the ice then. Game number 2 of the night. Brophy and Centennial. Easton, Stockford, and Dylan Pescator taking you through the action. Easton, let's go back to game number 1. Horizon and Campo, 11 seed. Horizon upset Campo. What were your big takeaways out of that game?
I mean, I think hockey's a game of mistakes, especially here in the playoffs, and I think that Campo just made more mistakes and Horizon capitalized on them. I think most of their goals were off of turnovers and odd man rushes, which is really what you have to prevent here in these crunch time playoff games.
This game, 7-10, Brophy number 7, Centennial number 10, another even matchup. Give me a player on each side that you're looking out for.
Centennial side, gotta be Logan Gibbs. Went to nationals with them last year, a key part of their team, one of the best goalies in the state. And then it's got to be Macklin Frakes on the other side of the ice for Brophy, just a big force for them, one of their best leaders, and he's got to really step up for Brophy here tonight, especially with their goaltender Max Milstein out.
Milstein out. Sam Selmer is going to be in net for Brophy, who they have played before this year, so they know of him. They've played with him before. His numbers are pretty good in 8 starts this year for Brophy. But you mentioned Logan Gibbs and Centennial. These are the defending champions of AHSHA here in D1. A lot of names moved on, seniors and juniors moved on to play hockey at higher levels, but they still have a couple returners who know how to play playoff hockey. How important is that? How impactful can that be?
I mean, experience is absolutely everything. Just having that composure and knowing what to do in those moments. And I think Centennial is kind of a bit of a sleeper team. I mean, having that reputation as the team to beat that championship team, you're going to play with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And I think we'll see that here tonight.
Now, there is another game going on at the same time in the other rink here. It's the 8 and 9 matchup. Notre Dame taking on Desert Vista. So we'll keep an eye on that one for you. We'll give you some score updates as we go along. But sadly, and maybe in a couple of years, we'll have the technological capabilities of doing 2 games at once. Right now, it's Brophy and Centennial in the playing round here in the 2024-25 season. The Broncos this year 7-11-2, totaling 35 points. Centennial 5-13-2, totaling 30 points. And the 2 key stats for these 2 teams is they do not take penalties. Moving toward the net, player going down. That was the freshman in Sawinski. Brophy has taken the least amount of penalties. Centennial's taken the least. Brophy has taken the second least. And we'll see how this game goes about. See if there's another upset brewing after we saw Horizon upset Campo in game number 1. Logan Gibbs in net, the senior. Now, after in his junior year, he played very well for Centennial. He's played in playoff games for the Coyotes the last 2 years. Played in the semifinal games against your Pinnacle Pioneers last year. You saw Logan Gibbs. He was splitting time with the senior at the time, Chance Taylor, who played in the quarterfinal game against Flagstaff and then the championship against Notre Dame, and famously made a huge breakaway save on Reed Gramlich. They would save his team's chances in overtime, which they eventually won on a goal by Ryan McCaughey with 5 minutes to go in the overtime period. Centennial, the defending champions, and Brophy, headed by first-year head coach Ryan Ricci. A new team, a very young team, but they got to find a way. They play a lot of low-scoring games. They scored the least amount of goals in AHSHA. It's about a goal and a half per game. So how important is it when you're playing a very defensive team like Brophy to score first?
I mean, it's incredibly important, but, you know, it's not the end-all be-all if you don't, because there's always still a chance in that game, no matter who scores first. But I think scoring first gives you a lot of momentum, and it kind of starts to break down that defense, hopefully killing some of the momentum if you're Centennial. But what to really look at for Brophy is they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, but that's very well maybe mostly credited to Max Milstein, as he has been arguably the best player in AHSHA this year.
Team Arizona first-team goalie Max Milstein, who is not playing tonight, .947 save percentage. Yes, that's not a typo. He led all of AHSHA in that statistic. He was very good for Brophy. They will not have him tonight. Sam Selmer in net. He started 8 games so far this year, and he also started against Centennial last time these 2 teams played, which was the last game of the regular season, just 2 weeks ago. So the 4th time these 2 teams have seen each other, it's been a 1-1-1 record between these 2 teams in 3 games. Brophy has gotten a win, Centennial's gotten a win, and in the 3rd game, they tied. So a very even matchup between these two teams, as each team is looking for the most important win.
And not to mention, the goal differential is even too. One team won by 2, and then the other team won by 2, and then they tied. So pretty much dead even in the regular season.
Exactly that. So they both finished the regular season off with each other, and now they start the playoff season with each other as well. Here's Gerskovich for Brophy. They get it in deep. Alfonso for Centennial. They'll tip it ahead. Here's Max Frakes. He's a star player on Brophy. He had a great year last year, great year this year as well in his senior campaign. Played a lot on defense because they've lost a lot of defensemen, but he can still generate offense from back at the blue line. Leach takes it out of harm's way. Here comes Brophy with speed with Lorenzo. Lorenzo, body off the puck by Gabrick, gets it back, tried to center it as he had Samuel on the back door. Here's the sophomore Spencer Leach. Wakeberg keeps it in for the moment. Now Sawinski, the freshman. It's a 3-on-1 for Centennial. Sawinski on the forehand. His shot was blocked. Good block by Gerskovich. I don't know if Sawinski didn't know he had his other two teammates there. He was almost treating that like a one-on-one. 4 minutes into the first period. No score just yet between these two teams, and we'll get an icing.
I mean, quick start here for Brophy, leading shots 3-0 early, and with a 3-on-1, you have to get a shot on goal. And Centennial fails to do that early, but they do have an offensive zone draw here and a chance to create a little momentum early.
Just an update on the Notre Dame game. Speaking of starting first, Justin Kaplan with the goal for Notre Dame to give them a 1-0 advantage over Desert Vista in the 8-9 game. Got 4 games tomorrow, and these two teams are looking to force their way to Mullet Arena. Brophy saw Mullet last year. Of course, Centennial owned Mullet last year, 3-0 in the playoffs as they went on to a championship. Here's Spencer Milstein to the net, and a save by Gibbs. You talk about Brophy being very defensive. They have, well, adding in Frakes, 3 really good defensive players. Milstein, Burr, Frakes. What's your take on those 3?
I think they're all very good at going both ways in these big games, and I think Frakes and Milstein both do a very good job at creating offense and kind of covering for each other and making up for those gaps that they leave when they do step up. And I think their ability to play off each other is what's made them so successful this year.
And Notre Dame now up 2-0 against Desert Vista. Here's Centennial the other way, an odd man rush opportunity. They move in, the shot saved by Selma, rebound chance, and it went wide. Selma this year, we mentioned his start against Centennial in the 2-0 loss 2 weeks ago. He went 1-6-1, 3-6-5 goals against. Coach Ryan Riccia said he's done everything for us, and when he's in there, we always have a chance to win. It's just all about the defense in front of him and also the offense. Nice save on a tip by Landon Jans, the freshman, as he tipped it in front, and Selmer got the glove on it just 5 minutes in.
Not exactly the most exciting start so far, just kind of feeling each other out almost in these first 5 minutes and looking to find what those weaknesses are and trying to break through here.
Offensive zone draw for Melissa. Mark Melissa, who is now a junior. Remember how many seniors that Centennial team had last year? 14, 15 seniors. It was the sophomore, Mark Melissa, who was named an assistant captain. How rare is that, and what does that say about him?
I mean, it's incredibly rare. I mean, seniority obviously plays a huge part in leadership, but some people just are natural-born leaders and have that character that can't be denied.
He is now the captain in his junior year for Centennial. A great year for Melissa. Led the team in goals and assists, 13 goals, 5 assists, and 18 points. Check that, he led the team in goals and points. And he did that in just 17 games. Selmer will cover this puck. Did a preview show for the playoffs with Steve Peters earlier in the week, which is drawing some flack from a lot of the AHSHA fans and players and coaches around the league and parents. Nevertheless, I mentioned this game, and I said this was truly a race to possibly 2 goals because of how good defensively these two teams are. Have you played in a game like that, Easton? And how do you go about that maybe as a defenseman when you know every single chance is so impactful?
I mean, I feel like the biggest thing for me is just keeping things steady, staying the course, and you really don't want to change all that much about your game and get out of your comfort zone. You just want to stay where you're comfortable and where you're used to playing and not put too much added pressure on yourself.
Another offensive zone draw for the Coyotes. Goes down low for Sullivan. Fighting for it is Giddings, the senior, along with Frakes, who will force it out with the help of Musa. Musa got away from one, turned the puck over. Gavrik looking for O'Sullivan. Milstein lays the body. Frakes back behind his own net. Hitting the circle, we're going to have our first penalty of the day. As making the hit was Musa. It's going to be possibly a cross-check. Yep, that's the call. Musa's going to go to the box. So just as I said, these two teams take the least amount of penalties. And Musa's going to go to the box for our first penalty of the night.
And as we saw in that first game, special teams so important on both sides. Not just capitalizing on the power play, but 3 or 4 breakaways on the penalty kill in that first game. And you have opportunities to create on the penalty kill while shutting the other team down, but on both sides, you have to be flawless in these playoff games on special teams.
Centennial this year, 10 power play goals, as clearing it all the way down is Brophy. The Brophy this year, they've been really good on the PK. Second overall, or tied for second overall in terms of allowing power play goals. So they don't take a lot of penalties, and they're good on the PK when they do. Musa in the box for cross-checking. Centennial on the power play. Back up top, Alfonso. That was Elars as it came in front. Looking for it was Melissa in front. Breaks, backhands it up and out of play. With 40 seconds gone in the penalty against Musa.
Ben Elars running the point on that power play, and he's one of the newer players on this team. Didn't play for them last year, new pickup for them, and he's been an extremely valuable defenseman, a very smart player, and someone who's been key for the Centennial team.
11 games for Elars, and Coach Drinkhouse, who in his first year as head coach for Centennial, went on and won the championship. Now he's trying to go back-to-back, and now has the target on his back as well. Spencer Leach with good hustle. Took the puck away and killed some time. Sawinski ahead. Landon Jans looking to keep it at the wall. O'Donnell forces it out along with the help of Leach. And he gets it down. Spencer Leach had a great freshman year last year with 7 points in 15 games. This year he's been fighting back from injury. His biggest goal of the year was one that me and you both saw. The game-tying goal against Campo Verde in a 1-1 tie. Scored that goal with about 90 seconds left.
That was a game where you really see how important the first goal is, as Campo held that lead the entire game, but then again you see the other side where it's not over, as Brophy finished it with a goal to tie it in the last minute.
Here's Jans at the top of the circle. Back to Ganesh at the top, 15 seconds to go. On the power play, they score! Pitch in front. Ganesh with the shot. Centennial with the lead. First man in line is Ganesh as it hit something in front. It went behind the legs of Selmer, and Centennial takes the lead on a power play goal.
Did a phenomenal job by Centennial. They're creating a lot of traffic and commotion in front, making sure Selmer has absolutely no vision on the puck. And Ganesh just fired one on the ice through, and Selmer never saw it, and it squeaked right by.
Landon Jans with the assist. Jai Ganesh opens the scoring as the Coyotes get on the board. A big hit by Miller in front of the Brophy net now, as the momentum is definitely going the way of the Coyotes. Here's Jackson Steele, one of those returners from last year, moving into the net. And Selmer makes the stop.
It's a really good save by Selmer there. Jackson Steele does a great job changing the angle of the shot there. As you have a look at it here, just pulling it to backhand to forehand, quick snap, and Selmer stays square to it and gets a good glove on it there.
That's Milstein, Brophy goalie, here to watch his team battle and compete in the playoffs. Also to watch, of course, his brother Spencer. A great defenseman on this Brophy team. Steele's going to chase up to this loose puck. 6 minutes to go in the first, 1-0 Centennial. Blake Burr did a good job of getting to the puck first. Centennial being very physical here in the first few minutes. Steele backhands it down. Here's Ethan Chili. Down low for Sullivan. Cycling the puck are the Coyotes. The Saturday night of high school hockey here at the Ice Den in Scottsdale. It'll be the last games at the Ice Den in Scottsdale here for the D1 season, as the quarterfinals, semifinals, and championship are all at Mullet Arena in Tempe. Tomorrow, a full day of hockey, 4 quarterfinal games. Here's Max Frakes into the zone for Brophy. He shoots, saved by Gibbs, rebound chance. Gibbs got that too. 2 great saves by Logan Gibbs as Will Samuel was on the rebound try, and he stopped that opportunity as well.
Really the first offensive opportunity we had for Brophy there as well. Starting to show some signs of life, looking to shift that momentum back in their favor.
Under 5 minutes to go in the first frame. Down low is Hartman. Along the wall, Giddens. Centennial cycling the puck well with O'Sullivan now. Keep it on this near side. Gabrick holds the blue. Brophy will skate it out. Samuel gets to the red and knocks it in. Lorenzo will get to the puck. First centering pass. Oh, it went wide. Samuel put it wide. The net was coming off. Of course, it still would have counted, but that puck was going wide no matter where that net was.
Just a really good hustle play by Brophy, and just man unmarked by Centennial in front of the net. Premier scoring chance, and those are ones you have to capitalize on, but nonetheless, Brophy really starting to show some life here.
2 really good opportunities for Will Samuel on that shift. 1 on the rebound chance that Gibbs got a piece of, and then that one where it just went off his stick a little bit long. 2-on-1 if they hurry. Sawinski and Melissa. Sawinski in front for Melissa, saved by Silver, and the rebound cleared out of harm's way by Frakes. Ehlers back at the blue. He tosses toward the net. He scores. Ehlers for Centennial, and the Coyotes take a 2-0 lead.
And second goal tonight, second goal in the first, that has come from a point shot here from Centennial with traffic in front. Selmer again didn't look like he particularly saw that one. It wasn't a rocket by any means, but whatever you do, you have to find a way.
Ben Ehlers, 11 games this year in the regular season, and another one of those players, Easton. He didn't score during the regular season. He now scores to start the playoffs for Centennial. $2-0 Coyotes. No assists on that goal from Ehlers. And another one of those times, we saw it during the Horizon Campo game, as Centennial's looking for a third. It's tossed out in front, still loose to the side of the net, where Brophy has that grade A opportunity. They can't convert. Next shift, Centennial takes advantage.
Yeah, and if you're Brophy right now, you just have to keep in mind that you don't win the game in the first period. You can lose it, you can give up on it, but games are won in the third period, and just to stick with it, keep it going.
Frakes turns it over, back behind the net, Centennial. Tossed in front, poking at it, and it goes wide. They keep the zone, the Coyotes do. Brophy just looking for an exit, and they get it with an icing. Got to be impressed with what Centennial has come out with here in the first.
Yeah, and coming out to a hot start is so key in these playoff games, especially when you get 2 on the board early. It's incredibly important to set yourself up for the coming periods, and especially getting down on your opponents, trying to kill that game early on and make sure just to ruin all hope the opposition has. Makes it a little easier on yourself and makes it a lot harder on the other team.
Centennial getting it in deep, working the corners well. Comes back out for Hartman. He'll go behind the net. Martin pushing at it. Hartman back in front, tipped away by Brophy, and they'll skate out after it. That's Jack Haas, the freshman for Brophy. They've done a really good job developing their really young players and to make an impact. Last year it was Bork and Leash. This year it's Jack Haas. He's played really well for them. 17 games with 2 goals for the freshman. And you know, Easton, at the D1 level, you don't see a lot of freshmen, but you don't see a lot of impactful freshmen either.
Yeah, I mean, to come in as a freshman, you're 13, 14, playing against adults, 18-year-olds, some even 19, and it's a big age gap, and I mean, there's nothing like it in the sport.
Stein goes all the way across. It almost feels like this year has been more freshmen who have been so good, even some underclassmen. I mean, talk about Mountain Ridge, 2 underclassmen lead their team with Davin and McCosh, and the player that comes to mind for me, at least for freshmen, was Hamilton's starting goaltender at the start of the year, Landon Jakmer. Well, I'm not sure if you guys faced, but first game of the year is a 14-year-old goalie and has to face off at Notre Dame, and he won the game 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a different atmosphere coming from 14U or whatever you have right into D1 hockey, and it's incredibly impressive when kids do it.
McDonald takes the still. Brophy looking to find some time in the offensive zone. Gilchrist will go on after this one with Gabrick. Back behind the net of Logan Gibbs, back in front, and not getting a chance to get all of that one was Gilchrist. Along with Edelstein. It was some good work back behind the net, but they couldn't get that opportunity in front. That's 2 times now that Brophy's had chances in front, but they can't get the shot away that they want.
Yeah, it just feels like they're not getting as much on their shot as they need. And it's those chances in front of the house, drawing out from the dots to the top of those circles, really a key area where you are going to find most of your goals, if not all of them. So capitalizing on those is incredibly important.
Gabrick in the corner, Ganesh gets it ahead. He had the first goal for Centennial. Coyotes team that is truly showing you got to throw the seeds out when it comes to the playoffs. The number 11 Horizon team won in the first game today, beating up on number 6 Campo 6-2. And now number 10 Centennial up 2-0 as we come to the end of the first period on number 7 Brophy. In the other 2 games, Basha beat Chap by a good margin. They will face off with Hamilton tomorrow at 4:40 at the Mullet. And we'll see the other seeds come out. Horizon is taking on Mountain Ridge. The other 2 opponents, which are Pinnacle and Flagstaff, we don't know their opponents yet. After these 2 games conclude, we will know them. We'll have the full schedule. As we come to the end of one, 2-0 Centennial on goals by Jaganek and Ben Elog. We'll be back for the second period right after this.
We walk together forever as hockey fans. Loyal to the game, hockey will always be in our blood. Skeptics said hockey didn't belong in the desert, but it motivated a generation of players and spawned NHL stars. Hockey does belong in Arizona, and the game, it's not over.
We play for what matters.
The Arizona High School State Championships, February 1st at Mullet.
All right, back here for period number 3, here from the Ice Den in Scottsdale. Always great to see some AHSHA alumni around here. Easton, a lot of your teammates from Pinnacle and the Junior Sun Devils have come out. It's just so great for the community to come out and have this opportunity to come and get together.
Yeah, and you say the word community, and that's really what it is. It's probably one of the most tight-knit communities in Arizona, and it almost feels like everyone knows each other. So even just walking into the rink when you got some big games like this, you see just about everyone you'd ever know.
We'll see if Brophy can muster up some offense here. They're down 2-0 at the start of the second period. Ganesh and Elarth, both defensemen with goals for Centennial. Here's Frakes' shot. Blocker save by Gibbs. Always tough to beat Logan Gibbs. Even tougher when you're down 2-0 to him. Here's Sawinski across for Hoover. He scores! Maddox Hoover, 3-0 Centennial.
We talked about it a lot in the first game, a lot of odd man rushes, and that's where you find almost all your goals in these playoff games, is capitalizing on those mistakes and capitalizing on those odd man rushes. So Centennial building their lead to 3 there on the 2-on-1.
Hoover's going to get the goal. That play, it was set up by, once again, another freshman in Nick Sawinski. 9 points in 14 games for Sawinski in the regular season. He gets the assist as he rushed the play. Here comes Centennial again with Hartman, who shoots, and a save by Selma with his left-handed mitt. Assists go to Sawinski and Gibbs. So the goalie gets a little points on that. What about that? Logan Gibbs with his first point of the year.
And what we will say is, I mean, some incredible rebound control. That shot from Matt Frakes there, blocker save, got it all the way out to the blue line and sparked a breakout for his own team. Not sure if it was intentional, but it was pretty awesome.
Centennial takes it away again with Giddings. They toss it in front. Loose puck. Taken by Saya. Brophy has to push now. Down 3. They got to find a way. It was a team that had trouble scoring the entire year. They'll tell you about it. And if you're wondering if they can make a comeback, as Centennial rushed it toward the net, they only scored more than 3 goals one time this year. A 4-1 win against Shap earlier this year. They need 4 to win this game, or at least 3 in a shootout win.
And, you know, it takes guts to do so in the playoffs, but you have to really bear down. Your season's on the line, and you have nothing to lose, so you got to leave it all out there. Empty the tank right here.
Adelstein gets it out. Maddox Hoover was not supposed to be here for Centennial. He had a travel tournament in Las Vegas, and because the Brophy Centennial game got scheduled to a little bit later, they were supposed to be the early game today. They got moved to later by the league, and Hoover said, all right, I can take the 45-minute jump flight back home to Phoenix. I'll be there, Coach. And Coach Caleb Drinkhouse got the message, and he's thankful that the game got moved, and now Maddox Hoover comes out and scores a goal.
And that's one of those things that makes the game so unique, especially in AHSHA's. You can come right off a plane and put up a hat trick and make a huge impact for your team.
Especially with travel. That's why some coaches like, some coaches don't like the Sunday night late slot, right? The 8 p.m., 8:20 spot. Sometimes you get players back from their tournaments, wherever they might be. Loose puck. Here's Jans. And a nice save for Selma with the glove.
You mentioned Jans there. He had a chance right there, but another freshman who's had an incredible impact on this Centennial team, and he's been just about everywhere tonight.
Yep, him, Sawinski, both freshmen. I mean, we mentioned Centennial had a very old team last year, 15, 16 seniors. They were very well kept and together, and they won a great championship game. You know, usually you'd say, all right, now it's going to be a little bit of a rebound year, and now you have the hints of, you know, the future. The freshmen who are coming up big, D1 time, playing really well. Here's Melissa, the junior. Toss it into the corner, back for Hoover. Hoover in front. Sawinski's shot went off the leg of Samuel. You have the captain, Melissa, and you have Hoover, and now the freshman, Sawinski, who got the assist on the 3rd goal. Here's Sawinski again. Tried to move past Leach. Had to go all the way back. And Centennial has to touch up. 3 minutes into the second period, 3-0 Centennial. As this one's going to go all the way down for icing. A quick update on the Notre Dame game. They also took a 3-0 lead. Or check that. It is now 4-0 for Notre Dame Prep. 4 goals, all by different players. For Zone, Hogenauer, Wesley, and Kaplan. So if the scores hold as of right now, Centennial will take on the Pinnacle Pioneers, and Notre Dame will take on Flagstaff, which I'm not sure if it was a huge surprise they were good. But Easton, I think coming in, and if you told anyone they'd be the number 3 seed, they've been very impressive this year. They've kind of been the story of the year.
Yeah, and they have a group of kids who have been playing together since they were little, which obviously plays a huge factor. And also the factor that they don't have any travel players, I don't think.
They have one. Kenzie Olsen does play Cachinos, but they don't have as nearly as much as any other Division I team. As Selmer makes the save, the rebound goes back behind the net. But continue on, one is much less than any other D1 team has.
Yeah, and having your whole team for an entire season, every game, allowing them to build that chemistry and build up those systems, it's incredibly important, and it allows for a lot more success than if you're mixing guys here and there.
I was doing the notes on them. They had over 5 players play every single game this year, which is rare. A lot of teams don't have a player or one player who's played 20 games, and our Flagstaff has 5 or more.
Yeah, I think another thing to credit them with is their goalie, Lincoln Miley, has been very good this year, and he's been probably him and Liam Smith have been the 2 key factors in their team, I would say.
Smith has been unbelievable. He made all Arizona first team as well as a forward. It was Kamen, Babin, and Smith, along with McCosh on the back end for Team AZ. All top 4 seeds will play tomorrow in the quarterfinals as Mac Frakes almost turned it over, then did. Hamilton the 4, Flagstaff the 3, Pinnacle the 2, and Mountain Ridge the 1. Coming out in front is Steele, and he just couldn't finish it. He had an open net as Selmer was down, but the puck just jumped off his stick. Jans' shot went blocked down as well. And another try. Nice save by Selmer with the blocker on Martin. A big question for tomorrow, Easton, that you and your team's going to have to go through as well is rest versus rust. The top 4 seeds have not played a regular season game. I know these kids have skated and played travel games before, but they've been played together in now over 2 weeks. The last game of the regular season was January 12th, and now it's going to be 2 weeks tomorrow, January 26th, where these teams are going to play together again versus teams that played tonight. Do you think that's going to impact everybody?
I mean, we saw it similar to the college football playoff with that new format. I mean, all the teams that got a first-round bye lost. Mm-hmm. So,
chance in front for Sutter, and a nice save by Selma on the backhand try.
So, I mean, it can obviously have a factor, and getting to stay in tune and in touch with your teammates and playing with them can obviously be very helpful. But, you know, I mean, we all do play hockey pretty regularly, and it'll be interesting to see how that does affect each team.
And I know a lot of kids tomorrow who are playing in the playoff games have a game in the morning. Big junior Sun Devils game taking on the Bobcats tomorrow at 11 a.m., which is going to be a little warm-up for all those players who are playing in the playoffs, as they just have to go a couple steps down the hallway for their Mullet Arena game, as Gibbs makes this stop under 9 minutes to go in the second, 3-0 Centennial.
Yeah, and that's also an interesting thing to point out, because how is rest going to come into it? You're playing a game on the same day. You might be a little gassed, but all these factors come into play, especially in these high-intensity playoff games.
Well, for you, it's a good advantage for you and the Pioneers, who have a lot of those players on those teams, because you have the late slot tomorrow. You have the 8 o'clock slot, so you'll have the most amount of rest from that travel game that starts at 11 a.m.
I plan to take full advantage of it.
Gibbs with a nice stop on a chance in front from Edelston. DiBiase can't get on this loose puck. Backhanded ahead for the Coyotes. Landon Jans trying to get past Gerskovich. We have a penalty upcoming. And now Jans' helmet comes off, and we have some major physicalities. The officials are going to have to come together here. We're definitely not having just one player to the box. We're going to have multiple.
And Jans, I mean, drew a penalty there, did a good job, and then a second shot to the head from Gerskovich, and he retaliates, could be giving up a penalty, but we'll have to see what the refs decide on here as they'll discuss it.
3-0 game. Jans is definitely going to the box along with Gerskovich. And we'll see what penalties they give out. Right now, we've only had one power play for either team. It went to Centennial, and they scored on it for their second goal. Oh, check that, their first goal today from Jai Ganesh. So Jans and Gurskovich in the box for their respective teams. We'll see for how long. The officials are taking a good amount of time talking at the scorer's table right now.
And they could be discussing a head contact penalty as well on Ganesh because, I mean, he really got up high. He knocked Jan's helmet off there.
James' helmet came off, and he gave another punch back. Let's see what they go with here. Now they're talking to each coach. Coach Ryan Ricci, first-year head coach for Brophy. He was a former Brophy player, coached at the JV level, and worked his way up as an assistant coach, and now the head man for the Broncos after Don Maloney left for Brophy. They've had a couple really good coaches and a couple really good players as well, as now Brophy is going to have another player head to the box. That looked like Bennett Gilchrist, and Centennial the same in Gavin Sutter, the junior.
So it seems like it's going to be two head contact penalties here for both, or maybe not. It's like Shooter is heading back to the Centennial bench now. Maybe a misunderstanding, but I think just a roughing penalty for Jans, it seems, and then the holding minor, and then the head contact for Gurskovich there.
So that penalty, the second one you mentioned, is going to be served by Gilchrist. Gurskovich gets a 10 and a 2, which and so does Jans. He gets a 10 and a 2 as well. The only question is, why is Brophy having a player serve a penalty and Centennial not? I think Sutter was right there.
So, no, Brophy's players serving the penalty for the 2-minute minor for holding, while they're offsetting on the head contact, so they'll come out of the box at the same time at a whistle.
Gotcha. So 12 minutes for Jans and Gurskovich, and then the next whistle, they will come out of the box. Gilchrist only has to spend 2 minutes in the box. So it is a power play for Centennial, their second of the day. And I mentioned they are 1 for 1 so far today on the man advantage. Here's Jackson Steele for Centennial, a team that, like I said, they saw Mullet last year. They won at Mullet last year, 3-0. They beat Flagstaff in the quarters. They beat Pinnacle in the semis, and then they beat Notre Dame in the championship game. Steele was trying to go high shoulder on Selmer. He put it high. Gabrick toward the net. Good tip on Hoover. Toss it toward the pad of Selmer, looking for a rebound. An odd bounce off the glass allows Leach to get it out to center. How good was that Centennial team last year, the championship team?
I mean, you talk about a super team, a team that was stacked. I mean, that's the definition right there. 4 lines deep, as much talent as you can imagine, and 2 good goaltenders to boot. Pretty tough to beat.
They did not have many holes. Here's Melissa, saved by Selmer, and he'll cover. 43 seconds until Gilchrist comes out of the box. They had a lot of really good players on that Centennial team. Ryan McCaughey, Ryan Gabuya, Cade Pareja, who was so good that he would have been a senior this year, but went to play up in Helena at the NA3HL with some other former AHSHA alumni. Centennial alumni Trey Pareja, who also played a year for Pinnacle. And then Desert Vista alumni Kelton Chadwick.
And then also, I believe, Pinnacle alumni Jason Hammett's out there as well.
It's a good point. And did you play with Jason, or was he 1 year before you?
Yeah, I was a call-up my freshman year, so I got to play some games with him. He was a good guy. I also had a PE class with him, so
look at
that was always a good time.
I'm sure you guys both passed that class.
I hope he did. I definitely did.
Here's O'Sullivan at the top of the circle. Very hard to fail PE, especially as an athlete. Didn't toward the net, save, rebound chance for Miller in front, but he couldn't get on it, and Frakes clears it all the way down. And that's a nice simple play from Centennial, just toss it toward the net looking for a rebound.
And I mean, that's how 2 of their goals have gone in. They've just created chaos in the front and taken away Selmer's vision, and it's led to ample opportunity for them all game.
This one goes out of play. It'll come back down to the Brophy defensive end. Gilchrist is out of the box in 11 seconds. We told you 3-0 here. It was 4-0 Notre Dame last time we checked. Desert Vista's gotten on the board. It's now 4-1. As the Thunder score. That Desert Vista team 2 years ago, champions at the D1 level. Talk about a sack team. They weren't sacked at least at the start of the year, but man, did that team come together and play really well in the second half. And Ryan Jim went on a superstar run. Gilchrist out of the box. We're back to 5-on-5.
And that team gave us one of the greatest games I've ever watched in my life.
That's right. The championship game at Mullet. Down 4-1 with 8 minutes to go, and Desert Vista came back to tie it in the third and then won it in overtime. I actually think I saw Marcello Lane here at the ice set in Scottsdale, the overtime hero, as Leach puts it into the chest of Gibbs for
Not to mention, short-handed goal as well, so really defying the odds. So really a special game, and that's what you're going to get if you come out to Mullet next weekend on Saturday. You're going to get a good game no matter who's playing.
No matter if Easton's on the ice or he's sitting up with us in the press box. Well, a returner from that championship team got Desert Vista on the board, Ryan Kim, who scored 2 goals in that championship game. Remember, he started the scoring off for Desert Vista in that game. Scored the first and the second goal for the Thunder. Danny O'Reilly, their captain, scored the third. Ryan Jim with the fourth. After, funny enough, he also got a 2 and a 10 in that game. And then Marcello Lane with the overtime game-winning goal. 5:20 to go in the middle frame. Here, Centennial up 3-0. So it's been 2 champions crowned as Gibbs makes a really nice save in front. Burr from the blue line tipped in front, and Gibbs' stick went flying. He made the save, and Samuel takes a few knocks from Hartman as he sent Gibbs' stick flying into the circle.
It doesn't look like there will be much of a shot.
I don't think he meant to do it either.
No, not at all. I mean, I think Gibbs stuck his block out to make a save, and no really time to react there for Samuel, but no calls there on Hartman, and he had some words for a couple of Brophy players after the fact as well. So things starting to heat up here a little bit.
That's what happens. It's a do-or-die game. It might count as a regular season game, which it does, but it's win or go home. It's win or your season's over and you're looking forward to next year, only if you're a freshman, sophomore, or junior. If you're a senior, it's over for your high school career. With speed, Centennial. Jackson Steele tried to make a move around Blake Burr. He could not. Almo for Ganesh. Breaks up ahead for McDonald. And for Freesky. A Brophy team that was really good defensively this year, especially in net, now faces a 3-0 deficit. A place where they don't succeed a lot, and looking for some offense at that. McDonald takes it away. Giddens can't get past. Keeping his Ganesh. McDonald takes a hit from Ganesh. Now we're going to have a penalty. Ganesh gave too much to, or check that, McDonald gave too much to Ganesh, and we're going to get a call here. Let's see who they take and for how long, as play has kind of come to a little bit of a stop and go here in the second. They're going to take Ganesh.
2 minutes here on Ganesh for roughing, it looks like. So we have a look back at it here.
It was behind the play. It was a clean hit, but then Ganesh took a couple too many shots at McDonald.
Yeah, it looked like he came up a little high on the hit as well. Kind of got the hands up in the face, and with these new USA hockey rules, the refs are going to call that one.
So Brophy to the power play for the first time today, and there's going to be another power play that starts in neutral ice, which we had in the first game as well.
Yeah, kind of a weird scenario where if you ice the puck and there's a delayed penalty, they obviously have to blow it dead, but can't give you an offensive zone draw either.
So Frakes will backhand it. It's Frakes, it's Milstein, it's Leach for Brophy along with McDonald and Samuel, the 5-man power play unit for the Broncos. A huge chance to get on the board. Here's Spencer Leach, the sophomore, across the line at the circle. Tried to feed Frakes, tipped by Hoover out of the zone. Now, not only did Hoover get a chance to come back from Vegas for this game, I'm told he has to go back to Vegas tomorrow for another game. So he's going back and forth as Frakes puts it wide. So he's going back to Vegas, whenever that might be, for the game. And then I'm even told he might even make it back for this game. He's taking the Vegas-Phoenix shuttle.
I I've never heard that one before, honestly. I've flown right into games several times through my high school career, but I've never had to fly back somewhere to keep playing.
Back in front, a huge chance for Brophy, and it's stonewalled by Gibbs. I guess for Centennial, they're lucky that it's in Las Vegas, right? Just a less than an hour flight rather than somewhere else.
Or a shorter drive as well, as you know, flights can tend to add up a little bit. But I mean, you talk about commitment. That's a lot of travel for one person in just a few days.
Hopefully get some Southwest reward points. Those can always come out in handy. 53 seconds to go until Ganesh comes out of the box. Your Sun Devil team had to go all the way up to Canada last week.
Yeah, we had
freezing up there.
We had quite the flight out to Detroit to find ourselves in Sarnia, Ontario, which everyone watching this has probably heard of.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was cold, but it was a blast. We had a great time.
Breaks at the red line. Lost the puck. Centennial fighting forward in neutral. Nice move by Leach. And it comes back out to Burr. Brophy needs one here. Samuel. Taken away by O'Sullivan, not out. Kept in by Milstein. Spencer Milstein toward the net. Easy blocker save for Gibbs. 10 seconds left in the power play. Brophy's first of the game. Back out to Frakes at the point. Frakes walks in and shoots, and a nice easy save for Gibbs. As one more second till Ganesh comes out.
And not for a lack of shots as Brophy's effort been. They're only one shot behind Centennial, but feels like a lot of them haven't been quality, and the ones they have had in the house haven't really had a lot on them or created too much havoc in front of the net. But Logan Gibbs has seen almost every shot tonight, and they really need to take away his vision with as talented a goaltender as he is.
Brophy with 7 seniors. They have their senior posters on the wall near their bench. 6 of them in the lineup today. One of them, of course, Max Milstein not playing due to a concussion. Miller down the wall, helped by Sawinski. From the blue line, it goes wide off the stick of Sutter. Lorenzo ahead. 1:50 to go here in the second. Caught up at the half wall. The Broncos this year, which have secured 7 wins, which is truly impressive considering how good their defense has been and how much of a struggle it's been to score goals. They were last in Division I in scoring goals, which usually is not a recipe for success. They found their way to 7 wins and 7th place, which in itself, when you look at the numbers, is actually very impressive.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I would love to see their goal differential, but also how many goals have they given up?
Only 55. Samuel almost had some room but didn't know where the puck was. So you look at 12th in terms of scoring goals, but they were really good. They were 5th in giving up goals as Burr's shot goes into the glove of Gibbs. And now some physicalities after the whistle. Under a minute to go in the second period.
I mean, it's really starting to feel like the playoffs. This game's been a lot more physical than our first one, I would say. We've seen some massive hits so far and a little bit of extracurriculars between the whistles as well, and there's more to come tomorrow at Mullet, I'm sure.
It's going to be a blast. $10 to get into every single game. For every game. It's not $10 per game. It's $10 for all games. Can't get a better experience than that for the quarterfinals. Semifinals, which we, of course, will have live streamed here on the YouTube page, along with tomorrow's quarterfinals, all 4 games. Going to be a marathon. It's going to be a lot of fun at Mullet Arena. Semifinals are Tuesday night. As this one comes in front, they score. It's Gabrick. With 20 seconds to go in the period, Gabrick scores. 4-0 Coyotes. Another returner from the championship team, Jacob Gabrick, in his senior year, scores to make it 3, or check that 4-0.
And, I mean, what a pass that was by Jackson Steele. Little sauce pass finds Gabrick back door, and Gabrick does well to finish that one off and builds the lead to 4-0.
4 goals from 4 different players. They're going to give the assist to Martin and Ganesh on that play for Centennial. Ganesh has been a really good game so far. A goal and an assist for the defenseman.
He's a fight away from the Gordie Howe hat trick.
I don't know if we can be doing that. End of 2, 4-0 Centennial. We'll be back for the final period here on the AHSHA YouTube page.
We walk together forever as hockey fans. Loyal to the game, hockey will always be in our blood. Skeptics said hockey didn't belong in the desert, but it motivated a generation of players and spawned NHL stars. Hockey does belong in Arizona, and the game, it's not over.
We play for what matters.
The Arizona High School State Championships, February 1st at Mullet.
All right, back for period 3, period number 6 for my man Easton and I. Easton, you got a big game tomorrow, and if these scores hold, Notre Dame up 4-1, Centennial up 4-0. You will see these Coyotes tomorrow, so getting a little scouting report on your potential opponents. The 2 games that are for sure locked in tomorrow, 4:40 at Mullet, Hamilton and Basha. That's going to be a heck of a game. I'm not a betting man. If they had, I think the over-under would be 12. Between those 2 teams. They always love to score, and they have some great offensive skill for those 2 squads. And the other game that's locked in for 6:20 is Mountain Ridge taking on the upset number 11 Horizon Huskies, who beat Campo today 6-2. Ryan Pesic with 2 goals in that game. 4-0 Centennial here. Now, if the scores do hold, nothing set in stone just yet. Notre Dame will take on Flagstaff tomorrow, the early game at 3 p.m. And then Pinnacle will take on Centennial in the late game at 8.
You know, and
For you personally, would you rather the late game or the early game? No matter, I know you have a travel game tomorrow at 11, but do you like the early games or do you like the late games?
somewhere in the middle. I kind of like that 6 o'clock, like that prime time, if you will, time slot. But 8 o'clock's a little late for my taste, but I wouldn't mind the early ones. But given that I have a travel game before tomorrow, I will take the late slot 10 times out of 10.
Now, you have the late game tomorrow, and you mentioned you have a game earlier in the day. Are you going to go, what's your superstition? Are you going energy drink, coffee? Do you need any caffeine? What do you do?
I'm not superstitious or anything. I just more of a routine guy. I think just keeping in the same routine creates a sense of repeatability, and it allows for more consistently. So I'll just stick to what I always do.
Do you have any players on the team that go crazy on the caffeine?
Not that I can really think of. I mean, we have a couple who will have an energy drink before the game, but nothing that's jaw-dropping amounts of caffeine.
Loose puck in the crease. Where is it? It's under Selmer somewhere. Centennial is looking for number 5.
And looks like the net might have got knocked off for the whistle.
Net came off. Puck was nowhere to be found.
And those are, you talk about ugly goals. I mean, the biggest ones are always ugly, and I know Centennial has a 4-0 lead here, but I mean, those goals are really what playoff hockey is about, is just finding a way at all costs, putting everything on the line.
4-0 Centennial. Guy Ganesh with the first goal. Ben Elarth with number 2. Maddox Hoover 3, and Jacob Gavrick number 4. Both Gavrick and Hoover, returners from last year's championship team for these Coyotes, who are going to be heading back to Mullet, barring a miracle. Facing off with the Pinnacle Pioneers. It'll be a 2 seed versus a 10 seed. Brophy looking to get on the scoreboard. Moves it to the net. Nice move. Just couldn't put it home on the backhand.
I think he was looking for Friska there on that backdoor look, but a good move to create an opportunity and try and spark this Brophy comeback.
Gibbs picks out of midair on a shot from the point by Blake Burr, who you're teammates with the Sun Devils. How is it playing with him?
Blake Burr is a Bobcat.
Oh, he's a Bobcat.
Yeah,
right.
I've played with him in the past. He's a very good kid. He's a good player as well. Really consistent, keeps it simple. Exactly how almost all defensemen should play.
No excuse for me there. That's a bad job by me. We did just see Bobcats head coach Austin Rauer roaming around the ice den as he usually is. He was speaking high on his Bobcats. He's excited to see some of his Bobcats tomorrow for Hamilton. A lot of Hamilton players on the Bobcat team. In front, they score again. It's Gabrick. 5-0. Jacob Gabrick. 2 goals. And Centennial's rolling on their way to Mullet.
And one of my 18U travel teammates this time scoring there. Jake Gabrick, he finds a way to put pucks in the net. He does all the right things, and he gets rewarded for it there. Just going hard to the net, presenting that middle lane drive, has his stick on the ice, and it's a pretty easy goal for him.
Jackson Steele gets the assist. Now, Centennial is going to be taking out Logan Gibbs here and bringing in their backup, Caden Thompson.
Yeah,
look at a game that's out of hand and trying to get Thompson some playoff experience.
Yeah, and trying to get Gibbs some rest, making sure he doesn't get hurt or put in any situation where he can't play tomorrow.
Gibbs was hurt earlier in the year. Didn't play the entire year for Centennial because of that. Here's Melissa to the net and a save. No, it's in. Melissa, 6-0 Centennial sneaks through. 2 goals for Centennial in under a minute. In 11 seconds, they scored 2 goals.
And believe it or not, the underdog team in this game has moved it to runtime now. So clock is running down with 12 minutes left, and that one just kind of a harmless shot thrown at the middle of Selmer's body, and it squeaked right through the 6-hole between his arm there. And tough one to give up, and builds that Centennial lead even more now.
No assists on the goal. 11 seconds between the 5th and the 6th goals for Centennial. As there's Thompson with his first save. Caden Thompson started 5 games this year for Centennial when Gibbs was hurt. He was hurt, and then I asked Coach Drinkhouse said, oh, he was out of town for a couple of games. I said, oh, what team did he play for, whatever. He said, oh, he was in Japan visiting a family member. I said, that's a little bit more than out of town. I said, Coach, that's out of country. That's across an ocean.
He still is out of the town, though.
No, you're right. I wasn't thinking Japan when he said out of town. Maybe Chicago or Detroit. Here's Ganesh to the net.
Not exactly the first place you think of when you think hockey.
No, not at all. Nevertheless, must have been a great time. And he's going to get some rest for tomorrow, as he's going to be taking on a very high-powered offense, the second best offense in terms of goals scored in AHSHA in the Pinnacle Pioneers. They scored just under 100 goals this year, second to just Mountain Ridge. Here's Sutter, Centennial with numbers again. Try to go against Burr. Burr forced him to the wall.
Really well defended by Blake Burr there. 2-on-1. Makes the decision to go man and gets a really solid stick on it to knock it away.
DV with another goal in the 3rd period. It's now 4-2 between the Thunder and Notre Dame. Notre Dame with almost 40 shots on net as they stand there in the 3rd period with about 7 minutes to go.
And DV, they've come back from 4-1 before on Notre Dame, as we've seen. So.
Yeah. And you saw that Desert Vista team a couple weeks ago. They actually beat the Pioneers.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I was on a flight when we played them, but didn't get to see that game. But couldn't speak much about it.
Well, I think what's so impressive, nevertheless, if you guys had a full roster or not, which you clearly didn't in that 8-6 loss, you beat Desert Vista by a good margin earlier in the year. It's 14-1. And I talked to their new head coach because they had a head coach switch between the year. Matt Bernard, the new head coach for Desert Vista, he said, hey, yeah, we lost that game, but I told my team we can beat that team on any given day, and full roster or not, they did come in and win that game 8-6. I think Kyle Ensley had 4 or 5 goals that night. That goes to show just that mental strength that Desert Vista has.
Yeah, and it's all about just never giving up. You can't come into the building defeated, nevertheless be defeated on the ice. So it's just sticking with it, never getting too high or too low. And when you do that, you can beat any team on any night, no matter who you are.
Centennial will clear this out. Nice pass across. There's Landon Jans as he's finally finished serving his 10-2. He was in the box for 3 or 4 Centennial goals, having a cheer by himself in the penalty box.
And it looks like Gerskovich might still be in the box.
We're going to have to check on that. It's tough to see from right now. There he is. From what we can see from the live scoring, they both got 10-2s, but we'll have to see.
It does say they both ended as well. So maybe just a mishap, or he forgot to leave, got comfortable.
The game out of hand. Brophy just looking to get on the scoreboard at this point with run time, and now a big hit by Landon Jans. Kid's a freshman, playing great in big playoff minutes. Him and Sawinski have been really good for Centennial in their first taste of playoff action. Easton, what was your first playoff game, and how did you feel before it?
My first playoff game was that shootout game we talked about in our first game against Horizon, and I was pretty nervous. I don't really remember the game, but I didn't think I had the greatest game. But
it was a high-scoring game. 4-4 was that game.
Yeah, 4-4. We ended up winning in a shootout, but yeah, I was nervous, but it's definitely a different atmosphere knowing that your seniors, their season could end and the whole season's on the line in one game. So definitely adds a bit of added pressure to it.
When I was watching that game, because of course they don't do ice cuts in the first few rounds, I said I would not want to be one of those shooters in the shootout. It would be hard to control the puck.
Yeah, definitely a factor in those shootouts when that ice gets really choppy. Got to start leaning towards the shot more compared to the move as that snow builds up in front of the net.
And if I remember correctly, Austin Chartle, as a junior, was your goalie that night because senior goalie Anyan Bennett was not there. He had a travel tournament that weekend.
Yeah, him and Simon Neely, both 2 key players on our team, but they were out of town.
Great player, Simon Neely was.
Yeah, he's off in the Null, I believe, now. Playing, I want to say in Oklahoma. He was in Fairbanks, got traded, but he's had a successful career over there so far.
Big kid. We have a penalty here. Let's see who they take. Will there be a partner for Gerskovich? There will not. Sutter is going to go back to the box. So Gerskovich got out. He finally got to exit the cell of the penalty box. Now Sutter is going to head to the box for Centennial. Power play for Brophy. It'll be their second of the night. They are 0 for 1.
Not exactly sure what the call was there, but didn't seem to agree with it as he was rather reluctant to go to the box, trying to figure out exactly what he did wrong.
See if they give it to us here. 6-0 Centennial. The clock is running as well. AHSHA rules in any game, regular season or playoff, if it is a 5-goal lead or more, they start running time. Burr and Frakes for Brophy behind the net. 2 seniors of the 7 that Brophy have on their D1 roster.
It looks like they got Sutter there for high sticking. So maybe caught someone up high there.
High sticking the call on Sutter. Gave Brophy the power play. We're going to just get the 0 off the board at this point. McDonald whips it in. Miller for the Coyotes. Samuel goes all the way across for Burr. Burr down low for McDonald. Here's Frakes. Frakes in front for Samuel. Leach just put it wide.
There's another chance just sitting right in front of the net where they didn't get enough on it, couldn't capitalize, and come short of finishing a goal again.
Here's Gabrick looking for number 3, and he put it high. That's 2 goals already today, does Jacob Gabrick. Now, Easton, you got to play at Mullet last year. 2 games you got to play, the quarterfinal game, and then you got to face off with Centennial in the semis. How was that experience playing at the big rink?
I mean, it's awesome. We get to play there for our travel games every once in a while as well, but playing in that big rink, you can hear everything. The ice is obviously phenomenal in NHL, or now NCAA condition, if you will, and everything there is pretty pristine, and it's an incredible opportunity, especially in those big games, to play it in a rink as big as the Moment is.
Now, you got to remind me, how did that semifinal game go? Was that against Desert Vista?
Our quarterfinal was against Desert Vista,
Cool, yep.
And then we played Centennial in the semis.
In the semis, that's right. It was a 4-1 game, the Centennial game. Good game. I believe you guys scored first in that game.
I want to say we did. I think we had it tied going to the third. But
That's right. It was a tie going to the third. Gave Centennial a real run for their money. After I believe, they went 16-4 last year, which is very, very impressive, considering how many travel kids they had on their team as well. And just 2 years ago, this Centennial program was not really in a great spot. They had the worst record in Division I. They had games where they only had 4 or 5 skaters show up to the game. And Coach Drinkhouse, along with his coaching staff and everyone in the Centennial hockey community, has really built it back up. A championship last year. Now they're going to secure another playoff or at least a play-in win and head to the quarterfinals at Mullet Arena. It has been a night and day turnaround for Centennial. Here comes Brophy. Edelson, saved by Thompson. He came in with about 12 minutes left, giving Logan Gibbs a little rest, getting him ready for tomorrow. Desert Vista has now made it a 1-goal game. It is now 4-3. Notre Dame was up 4-0 in that game.
Just over 2 minutes to go in that one.
You got to think the Notre Dame fans and players are squeezing their sticks a little tight.
A little bit of deja vu going on here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's white knuckle time for Notre Dame. 2 minutes to go here with running clock. Centennial just looking to finish this game off. So Easton will be on that game to see if we have any updates from there. Notre Dame was up 4-0. Now it's 4-3. And who got that third goal for Desert Vista?
Adam Brandt from Thomas Diamante there with 2:03 left. And Thomas Diamante with his second point on the night. So he's having himself a good night as well.
Always love the Diamante family. Just saw his dad in the stands. And I'll always be grateful for him at our starting days of the streaming games. Diamante's dad held the camera for me one time. Very nice of him for the whole game. I believe it was at Oceanside before, of course, it got demolished. It might have been here. Nevertheless, very nice of him, and always thankful for him. 1:10 to go here in the third period. I specifically remember an Oceanside game. It was a Friday night, and it was Pinnacle against Flagstaff, which you guys took down Flagstaff. It was 3 or 4-0, but it was a late Friday night game.
I remember that game. Yeah. I actually got injured in that game.
Oh man!
So a bit of scar tissue there, but I was injured in that game, and I do remember winning, but I think that one took me out for like a week or two, and so not my favorite game.
Not the greatest. It was also very cold that night. I remember in the little, I guess, press area you could call. Last 25 seconds here. Centennial up 6-0. Looking to finish this game off and head to Mullet. They were 3-0 in the playoffs last year, and now in the new year, looking to go 4-0. Jacob Gabrick with 2 goals, Maddox Hoover with a big goal, and the freshman Landon Jans and Nick Sawinski with big games as well. Logan Gibbs tossing a shutout for the time he was in. It'll be a combined shutout with Thompson, and that will do it. Centennial is moving on to Mullet tomorrow.
And they're moving on to a building where they have to feel more comfortable in. They've won there before, and I'm sure there's belief that they can do it again.
Coach Drinkhouse was happy. He was excited for this game. He said, if we can get to Mullet, we can do anything. And because of this win, they will face off with the Pinnacle Pioneers no matter what happens in the Notre Dame Desert Vista game, which is in the final few minutes of a 4-3 game, Notre Dame in front. Make sure to check out AHSHA Hockey on Instagram, website, AHSHAplayoffs.com, Twitter, whatever you use for updates on tickets, times, streams, whatever you need. They have it on their different social channels. 6-0 the final here. Centennial will take on Pinnacle tomorrow. Ethan, I'm sad we're not going to have you tomorrow, but you have a much more important role to play, that being on the ice for the Pioneers tomorrow. But overall takeaways out of this little playing around that we've had, 2 upsets, and potentially, depending on the Notre Dame game, 2 favorites winning.
I think the biggest thing we learned is anyone can beat anyone. There's no holds barred here in the playoffs, and no team is safe no matter who they are, what seed they are, or how many goals they have. So everyone's got to be on their top game. You can't lose focus, and you got to be ready to play no matter who the opponent is.
So we'll see what happens in that Notre Dame game, but 3 matchups are set. 3 p.m. tomorrow. Flagstaff will take on the winner of the Notre Dame Desert Vista game. The last 3 games are set. 4:40 Hamilton Basha, 6:20 Mountain Ridge Horizon, 8 p.m. Pinnacle Centennial. We'll have all the games here on the AHSHA YouTube page if you can't go. If you can, $10 get-in price for all the games at Mullet Arena starting at 3 p.m. Ben Smith on the 1s and 2s doing incredible work. That's him. He's a beast. He knows all. And tomorrow's going to be the true test of Ben Smith's equipment, as we got a full day of hockey starting at 3 p.m. Easton's got a game tomorrow, so we're going to miss him. But Desert Vista just tied that game at 4 apiece right here. So
Wow.
Desert Vista has tied at 4-4. So we're going to sign off here, and we're going to head over to watch that game.
Oh, my God.
But for Ben, we say thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.